Have you ever been in a relationship where you just weren't sure if you should cut and run? Here are 4 research-backed signs that it's time to dump your partner. Today, I'm so excited to be deep diving into 4 different symptoms that are not usually talked about that are actually profound relationship issues. I do have one caveat though. I am not including marriage in this. I am talking about dating. I believe marriage is a gift worth fighting for through the hardest seasons of life. Now, if you are married, you can, however, use these signs as a litmus paper test to see if there are any symptoms or signs that you should really be paying attention to. Number 1, you don't like yourself when you're around them. This is one of the biggest telltale signs that you need to cut and run from the relationship. Do you find that you're actually acting out when you're around your partner? Maybe you're more aggressive or emotionally triggered. Do you break down and cry more easily, or perhaps you just lose your cool a lot? Maybe instead, actually, you completely shut down and you become a shell of yourself. If you don't like how you feel or who you are in a relationship, that's a symptom of a serious problem. I've seen this many different times in situations of abuse or mistreatment in a relationship. I've personally experienced this around some toxic guys where I've completely withdrawn and gone silent. When I was with them, it felt like all my mental processes just stopped. They came to a grinding halt, and I could not think, I could not express how I felt. I couldn't even make little decisions like where I wanted to go to eat very easily. I cannot explain it, and it has not happened to me since. I was in a constant state of anxiety, fear, and insecurity. And being around this type of person radically changed the person that I was. Sometimes it can take a while for us to really see the changes in ourselves. But I promise you, at one point, there is going to be a light bulb moment for you if you're in this situation where you realize how much you hate how you feel and the kind of person you are when you're with that person. I'd actually encourage you to ask your loved ones, the people around you that you trust, if they notice any changes in you when you're with that person, or maybe just after you've seen them. Do you act differently? Are you visually more anxious or worried or quiet or triggered? When you ask someone that you know will be honest with you, this will be a very reliable test on whether you need to consider if you need to walk away from this person or not. Number 2, you're scared to bring up the future. If you find that you're really apprehensive about talking about the future with the person that you're with, it may be a not so subtle sign that this is the wrong relationship for you. I am definitely not talking about the normal, uncomfortable feeling that most people get when they're having to bring up something like the future that actually makes them incredibly vulnerable. When you talk about the future, making future plans with someone that you really like or even love, there's always that fear that you're going to get rejected. Maybe they don't want what you want, or maybe they just don't see being in your future like you see them. You are putting yourself out there, and it's very normal to feel uncomfortable when that happens. I am describing the very severe, fearful avoidance of discussing where your relationship is going. It's almost like you completely shut yourself off and stonewall from ever bringing up the future because you're just so afraid that maybe you don't really want a future with them, or you don't know if they're on the same page as you, and you avoid that discussion altogether. Now, why is this such a sure sign of impending doom in a relationship? Science-backed research has shown that if you cannot envision a happy future with the special someone that you're with, and you're not able to openly communicate about it, then you're likely not going to make it. And this is because marriage and long-term relationships require a massive amount of investment and work. So it is absolutely crucial that you put in that kind of work and you invest yourself in that way with someone that you actually can be happy with. So you need to find someone that you can have these kinds of conversations with, even when they're not easy, and even when it's a little bit scary that you're putting yourself out there in that way. I really can't emphasize enough that if you absolutely cannot even approach the subjects of having a future, then the relationship you're with is just not gonna work. Number 3, you're not agreeing on anything. If your relationship is a constant power struggle of disagreements and friction, it's a clear indication of a very profound issue. Clinical psychologist Andrea Benoit was quoted saying, "When fighting is unrelenting, to the point where there are very few minutes of calm, take it seriously." On the flip side, did you know that in some cases, not fighting enough is also a very big sign that your relationship is unhealthy? Now, why is that? So some experts have actually suggested that some couples who get so exhausted from fighting that they actually simply stop, they often stop sharing things with each other altogether. And a lot of times you'll see people in those types of situations start leading separate lives, or at the very least, they downgrade to having a very shallow surface level relationship that leaves them completely unfulfilled. So unless a couple learns how to either fight fair or communicate more easily with each other, the relationship will 100% not go the distance. Number 4, you start looking to other people to meet your needs. Now, I have a very important question for you. Who is the person that comes to your mind when something amazing happens to you? Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, maybe a family emergency happens or something really, really terrible happens to you or someone that you know. Is it your partner? Is it your boyfriend? Is it your girlfriend? Have you heard the term work husband or work wife? Maybe to you, it's a little bit of harmless fun and banter, but actually it could be an indication that you're looking to get support in certain needs from someone else that's not your person. Oftentimes cracks in relationships start to show when you're looking to other people to start meeting the needs that you have. Whether it's people from work, whether it's really close friends, or maybe even an ex. I am not saying for 1 second that you need one person to fulfill every single need that you have as a human. Not one person is going to be able to do it all in your life, but there should be a special place in your life for who you're with, where you run to and you first go to for validation and for support and encouragement. When you partner with someone in life, the two of you, especially when you get married, you become one, right? And therefore, you should be the one person that supports and validates each other. In order for you to be able to see a good future with the person that you're with, i.e. marriage, as you date, you need to find people that you know in the future that you're going to be able to run to for anything. You have to start choosing people that are going to be that for you. Do not choose people that are going to run from you at your greatest moment of need. Affairs and cheating always usually start when someone is looking to another person who they're not with to fulfill a need that they have. And like I said, it can start really innocently with your work wife or your work husband, but it can very quickly snowball into a very dangerous place. I fully believe that the goal of a relationship is marriage, and you should be looking for a husband or wife material that you know that you can get your emotional support from. There is clearly a disconnect somewhere in the relationship when you start looking elsewhere to have your needs and wants fulfilled. If that is you, then you need to find a way to remedy that straight away, even if it's having a really honest conversation with your person. Or maybe it's time for you to consider that you guys have very different value systems and also expectations for the relationship now and the relationship moving forward. I think it's really, really, really important to say that no one should ever just throw away a relationship lightly. And if both people are willing to work on it with both love and respect, then you definitely need to give that a shot. The only exception that I would give to this is in places of abuse and mistreatment. Cutting out people just because life gets hard or the relationship gets a little bit rocky is not an absolute sign that you need to end it. These are just 4 signs either to show you that maybe there are problems in the relationship that needs to be addressed and resolved, or actually you're with the wrong person. And most of the time, it's the latter. If you are interested in more videos on relationship science, dating, love, even singleness, then make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Make sure you watch the next one. It's a doozy.